Okay, so now let's look at some examples with mixed numbers. So our first step is always to change mixed numbers to improper fractions. So again, we're always going to put our X's and we work our way around this way. Okay, so 3 times 1 is 3. 3 plus 2 is 5 over 3 times 2 times 3 is 6. 6 plus 1 is 7 over 2. You keep your denominator. Okay, and you're just going to multiply across. I'm going to let y'all do that one and we'll come back and check our answers in a minute. Okay, next one. Again, we're going to change them to improper fractions. 20 times 1 is 20. Plus 9 is 29 over 20. Keep my negative times negative 10 times 2 is 20 plus 3 is 23 over 10. Okay. So again, this one, let's see. I actually don't see any common factors. So this one you're going to multiply across and then you'll get an improper fraction, and we need to make sure that we're changing our answers from improper fractions back to mixed number. Okay, so let's look at this one over here to the right. I want you guys on this one to try that one on your own. So at this point, let's go ahead and press pause, and I want you to work through the first 2 problems and then we'll get to the third. So if you just went ahead and multiplied out, the first one we should have gotten 35 over 6, but that's an improper fraction. So then to change an improper fraction back to a mixed number, you're going to just follow your sign, right? It's a division sign, so we're going to divide 35 divided by 6. So then you always stop at your decimal to change it back into a fraction. So 6 times 5 is 30, and so my remainder is 5. So 5 becomes my numerator, and I keep my denominator. So it is equal to 5 and 5/6. To check it, you could turn it back. So 6 times 5 is 30 plus 5 is 35. Perfect. Okay. Looking at this second one, I first paid attention to my sign. So I have a negative times a negative. So that means my answer is going to be positive. So I have my sign there waiting for me. And I did the multiplication. So again, we need to change it from an improper fraction to a mixed number. So I want you to go ahead and press pause and make sure you're trying this on your own, guys. Okay, so I went ahead and did top in, bottom out. So I got a whole number of 3, and then my remainder is 67 over 200. So I've been thinking a lot about 67, and I know that 1 through 11 don't go into it, 12 doesn't go into it. So I think this is a prime number, and I think that this is actually in simplest form. Alright, so you guys definitely press pause now, and I want you to try the last one on your own. Alright, so I went ahead and converted them to improper fractions. Then I multiplied across, and I simplified, or I converted it back to a mixed number, and I used my tic-tac-toe to do a positive times a negative, so that means my answer is a negative. All right, so guys, now we are working on mixing our operations, okay? So that means that we're going to have to definitely determine the difference between addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division, okay? So in the word problem, all we're going to do is set it up together. We don't need to solve it. You're going to have plenty of practice time. So it says Anita, for her art project, needs 2 4/9 ounces of glitter to decorate a specific kind of figurine. How many ounces of glitter would she need to decorate 54? Okay, So she needs, oops, sorry. And, okay. And there we go. She needs 2 4/9 ounces of glitter to decorate. How many ounces? So how many ounces of glitter, of is my keyword, would be needed to decorate 54 figurines? So of is a keyword. That means we're going to multiply. So that means I need to multiply 2 4/9 times 54. Okay. So once we multiply that out, we would get a big number. But I just want to make sure we understand in the word problem what keywords we're looking for. Okay. So at this point, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 practice problems. Okay. So I want you guys to start by doing problem numbers 4, 5, and 6 on the back, and then we'll come back to the word problems. So the word problems are very important, okay? So good luck. So you guys should have already done practice problems 4, 5, and 6, but I want to go ahead and go through text coding these problems with you in case you need a little bit of help. If you don't need help, you've already solved the problem, then go ahead. But this is to help you get started if you need it. All right. So number 1 says, my siblings and I baked a cake. I took half of the whole pie as my share. Okay. Of my share, I gave my dad 3/4. Okay. Then my dad gave our dog Pongo 1/3 of his share. What fraction of the whole pie did Pongo get? Okay. So I have this pie and I took half of it. Okay. And then if I cut that half into 4, all right, I gave my dad 3/4. So let's see, I took half, that's this half, right? I gave my dad 3/4 of my half. So dad got this blue part, right? And then I'm looking for another color. And then he gave the dog 1/3 of his share. So 1/3 should be this little piece, okay? To solve it though, we're looking at this of keyword. And so that means, of means I'm going to be multiplying, right? So 1/2, 3/4 of the 1/2, right? And 1/3 of all of that, okay? So looking at my picture, we cut this half into 4. So if this was cut into 4, there'd be a total of 8 slices. So we're thinking it's going to be 1/8. Let's see if we're right. So I want to take out common factors. And guys, don't get confused. I can do it across the entire thing, okay? So let's see. Here's a diagonal. So I'm actually going to take 3 out of these. So I'm dividing by 3. Going to divide by 3. So 3 divided by 3 is 1. And 3 divided by 3 is 1. So those are now 1s, okay? So if I multiply across 1 times 1 times 1 is 1. And then 2 times 4 is 8. Same as my drawing. Guys, drawings are amazing. So helpful. Okay, next problem says, Mrs. Jordan's class measures 2 1/4 yards and 3 2/3 yards wide. What is the area of her backyard in terms of yards squared? Okay, so here's one measure. And here's another. It says, what is the total area? All right, so here's her backyard. One is, let's see, the longer one is 3 2/3. The shorter one is 2 1/4. So if you remember area, oh man, it's disappearing. Area is length times width. Okay. All right, you guys try the last one on your own. I know you can manage it. Let us know or let me know if you need help.